Hello, and welcome to the World Cultural Heritage Site at the Völklingen Ironworks. You're listening to an audio guide which will take you through the Ironworks Park. In the sintering plant, you will see an introductory show which will invite you to go on a journey through time and through the history of the ironworks. From the roof of the ore shed, you will have a fantastic view over Völklingen.
Through the burden shed, the belly of the ironworks, with its enormous ore silos, your tour will continue to the area by the blast furnaces and up a steep stairway to the top platform at a height of 27 metres. There, the blast furnaces were charged with the ore. The coking plant is the next stop, and then you come to the Science Centre Ferrodrome, the adventure world of iron and steel. Your tour ends in the blower shed with its gigantic machines. Take your time on this tour of the World Cultural Heritage Site at the Völklingen Ironworks. There's a lot to see and discover.
Here are a few technical hints which will make your tour easier. You start your audio device with the yellow button. Stop your device when you hear this tone, and start it again also with the yellow button at the next listening point. Using the green buttons, you can select listening points that you've already passed or ones that are further ahead on your itinerary. You will recognise the listening points by the audio symbol they bear.
Welcome to the World Cultural Heritage Site at the Völklingen Ironworks, one of the most exciting places in the world. Since 1999, our sponsoring company has been creating a European Centre for Art and Industrial Culture here. On behalf of the entire World Cultural Heritage Site team, I would like to wish you a pleasant visit.
You have just heard some words of welcome from Dr. Meinrad Maria Grevenich, the Director General of the World Cultural Heritage Site at the Völklingen Ironworks, the European Centre for Art and Industrial Culture. The Völklingen Ironworks is a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site. But what does the title World Cultural Heritage Site actually mean? What other World Cultural Heritage Sites are there in Germany? And what obligations does the status of World Cultural Heritage Site entail?
On July the 14th, 1986, the last molten pig iron was tapped from a Völklingen Ironworks blast furnace. At that moment, more than 100 years of iron production in Völklingen came to an end. After the shutdown, the State Office for the Preservation of Historic Monuments and the Völklingen Ironworks Initiative vehemently supported the preservation of the plant. The disused works was classified as a historical monument. In 1994, UNESCO put the Völklingen Ironworks on its list of World Cultural Heritage Sites.
You are now standing in front of the sintering machine in the sintering plant. What was work in the sintering plant like? What were the procedures like in this part of the works? What conditions were the workers in the sintering plant exposed to?
From 1925 onward, ore began to be crushed in Völklingen. This had the advantage that the ore could now be sorted into its respective sizes by screening. The blast furnace could be charged with material which was homogeneous in size, and this made its performance less erratic.
However, crushing also had one disadvantage. When ore was crushed, a good deal of dust was produced, and this could not be fed into the blast furnace without causing problems. A solution was therefore needed by which the fine dust could form part of the charge after all, since no one wanted to waste the iron it contained. And that solution was sintering.
So how did sintering work? Sintering was the process of baking together dusty or close-grained substances. The sintering of iron ores was carried out by heating the ore mixture to the point at which it melted. However, a certain amount of sensitivity was called for. Each individual grain of ore was just supposed to begin to melt on its surface. Thus, it was baked together with the other grains, and when it all cooled down, a firm block remained, the so-called sinter cake.
The process was carried out on a belt which ran through the shed. The temperature required was reached by mixing fine coke or anthracite with the ore mixture. Once it had been placed on the sintering belt, this mixture was ignited with gas or heating oil. After that, air was drawn down through the mixture and the body of the ore was fired right through.
In the final years before the closure of the sintering plant in 1986, some 4,500 to 5,000 tonnes of sinter were produced per day, in other words, 190 to 210 tonnes per hour. There were 13 men working on each shift. Work in the sintering plant was characterised by the dust and by the din of the machines. The men were exposed to this dust and had to do their work under very tough conditions indeed.
If you go over the footbridge in the ventilator shed and then turn right, you will come to the roof of the ore shed. From there you will have an impressive panoramic view out over the town of Völklingen and the Saarstahl steelworks. There you will find listening point 2. Stop your audio device when you hear the tone and start it again at listening point 2.